Well, hello. So this video is all about me wanting to build a table in here. So this is our Canopy Camper on the back of a 2018 Toyota Hilux, and we use this spot here in the evenings to sit in, get out of the cold weather and whatever, and play cards, watch a movie on the tablet, whatever. But it'd be really handy to have a table right here where we sit. So the idea is something that sits hard against the door here that we can just grab, pull out, click, sits like so. So whether I can achieve this or not, we'll see how we go. Stick around. So with knowing what I wanted with the table, it needs to start off flat on the door, it needs to come up 200 mils, and it needs to come out 200 mils. So I made up this plastic template just from plastic strips. I had a few different goes of different configurations how this was going to work, but this was what I come up with in the end. So that this would pull out, come up with a slot, stop at the end of the slot, be parallel. The pivot arm here would also stop it, so that with weight on here it's locked in, and then this here was going to be a channel, so that once lifted up, spun, the table could slide out using this as a channel. So with that in mind, we've got the plywood. I found some channel, some alloy channel, that's a near neat fit for that. So that will now slide with that. The ply itself will not be fixed in any way, it's just going to be loose, and if I need to slide it out, we can slide it right out. So now I need to configure some measurements, the length of the slot, the length of the pivot, and go from there. So I've come up with the idea of using alloy angle. It's 4.5 mil thick, so it's pretty sturdy. So I have machined some slots, so these are approximately 200 mils long. So starting at the bottom of the door, the table needs to be 200 millimeters higher, so it's going to slide up here, and that's going to be the height. So I've used my CNC router to do these, and we've got some opposites, and these will be fixed by the back of the angle, fixed into the door. So I haven't worked out how far apart they'll be yet, but that's a material. I'll make both of these the same action. to make the pivot move freely up and down the slot, I'm going to use this piece of nylon and spin out a couple of wee bushes that will go each side of the slot. So I need that centre there to be 10 mils. That's the width of the slot, or just under 10 mils, so it's not tight. We're at 11. 1mm off that. Just over a millimetre. Just check it again. That is about 10.2. And there we have one bush ready to go. Righto, so I've got some nylon bushes knocked up. So when these go together, that gap in there is just a little bit wider than the thickness of my alloy. I think that's 4.5 mils, so this is a little bit wider. With these, when these are done up together, it's a very easy slide, very free. So I've got my channel countersunk, and I'm using countersunk machine screws, 6mm, like so. I've got a bush on one side, bush on the other side, tight, a wash up. It's just a plain nut for now to hold it together. These will be lock nuts, but that's a very free sliding on there. So the next thing I need to look at doing is working out my pivot arm. So it's going to be somewhere about here right to the top, so that when this comes down, it's going to pull that in like so, and that will all close up neat. So that arm is going to be made from 3mm, so I may have to increase the, I will have to increase the thickness in here, and I'll just put some washers in there to pack it out. So I'll square this up. It'll have to be square for when the table's out. So yeah, I'll muck around and get a measurement for that, so that when this is closed, like so, it folds in all together. So I've got an offcut of a strip of alloy here. I've drilled my holes where the pivot, the top's going to be, and I've drilled a hole at the bottom. It's all guesswork. So once I square this up, there's probably a formula to work this out, but it won't take long to do it this way. I'll square it, so that is square. I've got a hole here, so I'm just going to mark that on there. So then I'll close this up to where it should be. closed like so. And that hole is approximately 15 millimeters out when that's closed. So that means that the hole, and I'll mark it here, so that needs to be around 15 millimeters more. So we're in the ballpark. So after persevering several different trials, different holes and spacings, I've got the measurement I need between the 2 points, and it works like so. So you'll pull the table up and it pivots in, drops down, folds flat like so. It actually moves very nicely, so this is going to work out great. This will have to be a nice low head or a nut to fit inside under here. We'll grind something down to do that. Yeah, really happy with how that's going to work. We'll make two opposing ones, and I'll get two of the CNC and make 2 legs. I'll get onto that now. So there we are. We made a bush in the top to clear the pivoting arm to compensate for the nut that we had to put on the centre. Countersunk on the inside to clear the sliding ply. Putting a nut on the outside. And then the pivot at the bottom. We'll increase the size of the bush and the slide. It works really well. It's all together now. Ply slide out there, slide it back in, close her up. Easy as that. Here's a wee trick to turn your standard nuts into a locking nut. Just a few centre punches around one edge, and that deforms that thread at the end, and it helps bite into the thread of the bolt. Right, so we've got the two bits of channel braced together with some angle. So these are welded on full four corners and squared up. So I've now got the ply cut to size. So it's going to slide in here. Hopefully slide in here. There we go. That's quite easy. So that's just going to slide in and out like so. Nice. Right, so I'll attach these channels back on, these angles, and line her up for a fitting. So now I've just got it clamped to the bench. We've got the main frame attached to the angles with the arms, and this is it. Quite firm. It's probably how it wants to be though, and pulls down nice and simple. So now we're going to have to devise a way of attaching it to the door in the camper. I'm pretty happy with that. So there we go, we've got the frame bolted in there, and I've chosen to drill right through the door for the fixings. I did look at fixing it to the channels here. As you see, from factory they've got these little key slots made. You can put a fixing in, pull against it, but these are very light, and I didn't want, with the pulling of this actuation and a wee bit of weight on it, possibly pull out of here. I'm not too sure, but anyway, it won't pull out of the door, and it's rigid enough to support it. So yeah, really pleased with how it's come out. The actuation is great, can't fault it. And our tabletop as such slides in there. There you go. We're going to put a wee bungee on there that'll hold it up, and then that door just opens up. Normally with that on, the weight of it's not a problem, the gas struts are still holding it up. So yeah, like so. Slide it out, the two of us will be sitting in here. We can game of cards, whatever. Set the tablet up, watch a movie, and enough room for a couple of plates. Sit down and have a meal. Yeah, really pleased with how it come out. Really good. So I've also got another couple of videos on the channel of some alterations we've done in here. You might like to go and have a look at those. But coming up, I'm going to do a full rundown of the camper, of all the modifications we've done, other bits and pieces, the awning, where the fridge is, some storage in the front of the truck. Yeah, it's coming up. So yeah, subscribe if you want to catch up with that, and we also get out and about with it too, so we'll do a few shots of around the country. There we have it. say, it's strong enough for what it is. It won't support any tabletop dancers, but hey, that's it. Thank you.